favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none. We'll start with our department head. And today we're gonna start with Sarah because this is her last one and she didn't have anything to report about.
I'm trying to get everything that I can think of that I need to close out and not leave outstanding for Katie for
I appreciate that.
general assistance and the prevention contract. So yeah, it's just making sure that things I forgot on my list, I remember before next Friday.
Okay, thank you. Katie, since your name is brought up,
Sure.
Sorry.
So, no, you're good. Board of Health last met on May 14th, and we'll plan to meet again on July 16th. We're taking June off. Since we last met, Iowa had reported its first case of measles since 2019. The case was in an unvaccinated adult in central Iowa. They would not give us a county. It was someone who had traveled internationally and was very responsible when they came back and had self-isolated, so there were no further cases. We have also noticed that the CDC has changed recommendations for the 2025-2026 COVID-19 vaccine this fall. The CDC's recommendations is that individuals 65 and older or those with weakened immune systems should still get the vaccine. The changes have been made for children 6 months to 17 years. They initially said it would not be recommended, but then they kind of backpedaled and said that you can discuss it with your healthcare provider. This is not the usual schedule for it, so usually the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices meets first, gives their recommendations, and then the CDC moves forward. But this year they did that prior to the Advisory Committee's meeting, which is not until the end of this month. It's the 25th through the 27th, so it'll be interesting to see what they have to say, if those recommendations are congruent. And then we had our Stride into Summer event last weekend on Sunday. It served approximately 111 families, which was exactly the same as last year. They think they may have missed some that missed registration. We have a few upcoming events that Public Health will be at. We always go to the Access Energy Shareholders Picnic. That'll be in August. And then our Back to School Health Fair is scheduled for August 11th this year. And that will be at the House Center, and there'll be more details to come closer to that date. And then we appreciate Sarah's help. She's been meeting with us on the transition for general assistance.
thank you. Sheriff McNamee.
Sure, thank you. Last month at the Sheriff's Office, I got a few notes here and I'll try and get through them fast. We've been holding in the lower 50s for most of the last month in our jail for an average daily population. Total revenue generated for housing out-of-county inmates at the end of May was $3,368,055. Business continues to be a little slower in 2025 for emergency services. We've had 8,590 calls for service as of the end of May countywide. Compare that to last year, 9,517. The year before, 9,794. So we're seeing a downward trend in emergency services, which I think is a great thing. Staff, we welcome a couple new people to our staff. Wyatt Bartlett and Brendan Swoley have been hired on our jail staff and have started off very well. We had a dispatch retirement this last month. Kim Murdoch retired after the last 17 years of continual service as a dispatcher and a total of 28 and a half years of service to the citizens of the county, working for the Sheriff's Office, the Auditor, and then back at the Sheriff's Office. So congratulations to Kim. We have been taking applications for dispatch replacement for Kim, and we're working through those as we speak. KXEL Radio, formerly WMT, don't hate me, Hayden, are doing a tractorcade. It's coming to Southeast Iowa next week. Estimated 300 to 400 tractorcaders will be driving through Southeast Iowa roads on June 9, 10, and 11. They'll start and end in Mount Pleasant each day. On the 9th, they go west and north. The 10th, they go south and west. And on the 11th, they go east and north out of Mount Pleasant. We're working with other local law enforcement and helping with the major corners and crossings, including by your house. ATV and UTV law changed in 2023. I'm sure you guys know that. While this is convenient, I just read some statistics. The downside to this law change, where they can now drive on all roads except for 4-lane highways and interstates, there's been over 300 ATV, UTV crashes since 2023, and 35 of those resulted in fatalities, according to the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau. This includes 20 fatalities last year and already 3 this year. So I guess a note to our motoring UTV, ATV public, use better judgment and better driving habits. Hopefully we can cut down on that numbers. For the below 100 goals for the state of Iowa, that's really devastating. It's hurtful. July 4th is Independence Day. It's coming up. Fireworks are part of that. Everybody's celebrating. Reminder that fireworks are legal during certain times before and after the holiday and the first of the year. We encourage our public to use good judgment, follow the rules pertaining to fireworks as they come and go through the celebration of the Independence Day. We will have ATV, UTV rules and the fireworks rules posted on our Facebook page for reference in case anybody wants to look that up. And lastly, the Sheriff's Office is partnered with several Henry County ice cream vendors to sponsor our Safe Riding program. This summer, we're going to be stopping safe bicycle riders, issuing them a congratulatory ticket. If we see that they're using proper road skills, wearing their helmet, using good safety measures, we're going to give them an ice cream voucher to take those kids to the local ice cream shop and get them an ice cream on us and the vendors. So uniformed deputies and I will be out issuing those tickets to congratulate kids on doing those great things. And we encourage the public, if they see somebody, maybe mention it to us and we can shout out to those people. But I just wanted to say a public thank you to all the vendors around the county. There's several that participated and they're going to be donating those ice creams to the kids. Thank you.
Is that word crasticator in the dictionary?
Probably not. I think I did a makeup on that one, but it should be in there.
Check it out.
It sounded good. Yeah, thanks.
Nathan, do you have anything to report on?
I do, sir, yes. May was a busy month in the Assessor's Office. The Board of Review held their final session May 22nd. They had to meet 6 days, had 65 hearings for 65 petitions, and they submitted the final report to the IDR on May 30th. The new aerial imagery has arrived, and it just went on Beacon this morning, so the 2025 imagery is on Beacon. We will get our change finder software from the vendor soon so that we can start looking to see stuff that we might have missed. We're in the process of preparing and finishing up the abstract of assessment for 2025, and that report is due to the IDR July 1. Should have no problem getting that to them. And I attended a class, the IDR put on a class May 27th through the 29th on listing residential real estate. I honestly just wanted the 17 hours of continuing ed credit, but it ended up being a really good class. The Department of Revenue and the Association of Assessors of kind of getting closer. Used to be kind of feel like we were fighting each other, and now it seems like we're more of a team, and that's kind of a good thing. They got a new director there that she came from an assessment world, so I think we're gonna have a better partnership with the IDR, which is nice because it's probably stronger than it's ever been since I started in 2015. So those are positive things from that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Cool.
Finished up all my requirements for 2025. Got all the letters from the state saying we're compliant as a state. So exercise training and education is all taken care of, plans and everything, so that's a good thing. Saturday night, we had a missing person in Henry County, and I want to have a shout out to the Sheriff's Office, the Salem Fire Department and Mount Pleasant Fire Department, and all the volunteers that came out to help search. It was about 4 hours, 5 hours that we were there, and whatnot, but everything went really good. We went out and we did a hasty search to begin with, and then once we got the fire departments there, we did a grid search of the area from Franklin going north to the river, or Franklin. It went from, what was that street there? 250, yeah. Anyway, we did a grid search across. Rich and I researched the house, everything, and we found the lady. She was alive. She was cold. That was the only thing that she complained about, I think, was that she was cold. But shout out to all the fire departments and all the volunteers that came out to help do those searches. it's always good to have a positive result. We flew the drone. She was in some pine trees, so the drone wouldn't penetrate the foliage. We had the canine out and whatnot, so it was a good night. Seeing all the people working together, so that's all I have.
When the alert goes off like that, do you put requesting assistance, public assistance or anything like that, or?
That night, we did not ask for public assistance, everybody just kept showing up.
Because we had a lot of public in there already,
Okay.
probably over 100 people.
Because I know when I come out, it's like, okay, does one go down there and be in the way, or does one go down there and help out? And
Yeah, if we needed people, we would have put it out, but like Rich said, we had people everywhere, and it's kind of herding cats to get everybody together to do the grid search, but once we did, it was very effective.
And would other people that have private drones be of assistance on something like that as well? Give them an area to search with a drone?
If
Or,
we- Yes and no, because we can only have so much in airspace, so we don't want to be running over each other and crashing in the air.
that's why, you would assign an area out
Right, but,
and,
so,
And it
It seems
depends
like
on the
everybody and their
geographical
dog has
search
it.
area also.
yeah.
We had this one down kind of to a small perimeter. But if it were a larger area, it would be very helpful.
So, it's case by case, as anything, law enforcement and first responders.
good job.
Jake,
Yeah, so I have a couple permits here I'll go through later, when it's my turn again. Kind of a maintenance update last week, and since the rains come, we've been working on blading roads with our blade operators. Spraying weeds, we've been working on noxious weeds. We have done some stone shoulders as well. It's kind of off and on, but the focus right now is working on the second round of noxious weeds. We've seen a kind of an uptick on them sprouting now. Spot hauled various locations. Again, our mowers have been working. We've got 2 mowers working on gravel roads. And then we're out this week with the Durapatcher to work on getting Racine Avenue kind of fit up for that slurry wedge or leveling that we'll be doing, or seal later this summer that we're going to be doing with Denko. And then Hickory Avenue, that was a project we had last week. The maintenance crew completed that on Friday. We got it seeded on Monday. So that gravel road or that culvert replacement's been completed. Kind of miscellaneous construction, Norris Asphalt with Franklin Avenue. Contractor seeded last week and mulched. And then when it dries out again, we'll be back in there working on some erosion control items to get some ditch checks in there after we got the seeding done. Old Highway 34, we had the double seal coat completed, and that was as of yesterday afternoon. They got the second coat on. We do have a sand seal that they'll be putting on, but my indications, or at least from what we've heard from Jefferson County, they should be able to use that road for the tractor parade that's coming through. That's one of the roads they're utilizing. So our section's pretty well done on that. And then I do have a map that I was going to hand out to you guys just so you know where the routes were on that tractor ride. And like Rich was saying, they're taking care of the patrol on that. The road department's got a very limited need unless we get a request from that. But traffic is normal on those roads. It is an open road. We'll just be out there helping out with getting the tractors across intersections. And that's it.
Caleb.
All right, good morning. I'm gonna give my monthly update, so bear with me here. I will not be able to attend next week's meeting. So, camping wise, Memorial Day was obviously our first major camping holiday. We didn't have any major issues. 4th of July, we're prepping for that. I want to be clear, there is no fireworks allowed in our county parks. We have had a lot of issues with that in the past, getting phone calls at 1 o'clock in the morning. So advertise that a little bit. Dump station, we're in the final stretch of the project, thankfully. Last week, Pierce Fence, they came and installed the gate that will be in to allow people in and out. So right now we're waiting for the gate opener to be installed. hopefully next week we'll get that installed. We did open, one of my board members was camping Memorial Day weekend, so he volunteered his time on Memorial Day to open the dump station. We had, I think, 7 individuals that dumped. So the floats, the alarm system is all hooked up. We're just waiting on security cameras, security lights, and the opener. And Pheasants Forever, they actually donated some pollinator seed. So we've got a cul-de-sac people can pull in and make the loop around. It's a fairly big area, and I didn't really care to mow it weekly. So we're gonna have pollinator planting on the inside, a short mix with some flowers in it. So kind of a neat little project, teaming up with the Henry County Pheasants Forever chapter. New employees, we hired Addie Pasha. She starts this coming Monday as our new naturalist conservation tech. We're very excited. Kendall has been overwhelmed here the last month with programs. So Dalton and I have been helping her with programs. We're in the heart of field trip season. So if you're out and about in the park, please be sure to drive slow, because we've had hundreds of kids here out at the park. We've got summer camp starting this week, so a lot of kids in and out of the park, so just be mindful of that. Little project, been working with the Friends of Conservation here in Henry County. They are going to build a new shelter house for the department. So met with them last night on site. Hopefully by the end of next week we'll have a concrete pad poured for that. So the concrete pad and the shelter house, Friends of Conservation is paying for. So they've kind of taken that project and run with it. So special thanks to that group and everybody involved, local contractors with that project. In conjunction with that, we're going to be moving the monument, which is an old grist mill monument. So working with the Daughters of the Revolution, they've acquired grant funding to move that. So just, yeah, kind of been working with Kathy Hellman and Daughters of the Revolution to get that moved somewhat close to the shelter house. ITC, I met with the 2 individuals yesterday in regards to identifying access routes at Ketchum Switch. They had some concerns on how to get heavy equipment throughout that property, just due to terrain and the creek that goes through there. So that was a good meeting. We got that figured out. So timeline wise, still kind of unknown, but they're hoping maybe next fall. Not this fall, but the fall of 27, that they would start doing some tree clearing and grading for roads to get equipment in and out to conduct that transmission power line upgrade. Let's see, programs, I've already talked about that. If you have any interest in programs, you can get on our Facebook page for more information about that. Forestry grant, I'm working with Lisa Lauk. She's a DNR district forester. Sounds like there could be some federal funding trickling down to county conservation departments and state, the DNR, to do some invasive tree removal. So honeysuckle, for example, which we've been doing some of that already. It's going to be a multi-year project. Essentially, we get the funds and we filter those funds into a local contractor to do brush mowing, to tackle. So I've met with Lisa already. We've identified some areas, Gibson Park, for example, around the boat ramp. It's super thick. So I'm meeting with her on site tomorrow to actually boots on the ground, look at those areas. Playground, I do have a concept here that I'll give you guys before I leave. We're getting closer to our end goal. To date, we're just shy of 50,000 that we fundraised. I haven't fundraised. Gloria, my office manager, she deserves the full credit for that. She mailed out over 100 letters to surrounding businesses here in southeast Iowa, trying to get some interest in possible donors. She's been applying for quite a few grants. We still need a lot, but we're with the match from the playground company, we're well over 140,000 to date. So we still have, I don't know the timeline wise, obviously, depends on if we can get some of these grants. A lot of the grants we're looking at require a match, so obviously now we're getting quite a bit of savings build up, so that is gonna help us, I believe, in the long run. Last but not least, Preserve Oakland Mills. It's a group that recently has been started to kind of fundraise towards the renovation of the footbridge. They are hosting a fishing tournament this weekend at Oakland Mills on Saturday, so if you have any interest in that, you can find it on Facebook at Preserve Oakland Mills. But other than that, yeah. Thank you.
Philly.
This down for me, please. So we're starting out with the monthly reports again. So you've got your investment balance, your general ledger showing the fund balances, and a spreadsheet showing the running total of motor vehicle use tax and driver's license for the fiscal year. The motor vehicle retention fees for the month of May, showing the old versus the new schedule fee schedule. So that's continuing to increase. Per legislation, we are allowed to charge an extra $10 for out-of-county driver license individuals who do not pay property taxes in Henry County. During May, we have 51 out-of-county customers, which is an extra $510 in the driver's license collections. Since this implementation in January, we've collected an extra $3,480 of revenue that we originally opted out of. If you remember, we opted out and then we decided to go ahead and start collecting that. So it's not a huge windfall by any means, but every little bit helps, right? The city of Mount Pleasant has started to use the parking ticket resolution that passed in December of 2024. That resolution was for the county to put a stop or a hold on someone's registration renewal if they have an outstanding parking tickets. We've placed 4 stops, which only equals like $20, but one of those has so far been released. So hopefully this will help the city with any problem violators. The interest collected for the month of May was $42,625. The delinquent property tax publication list should be in today's paper, Southeast Iowa Union. To avoid having a parcel in the paper, taxes had to have been paid prior to May 20th. That allows the time to get the list to the paper and for the paper to do their part. Online tax sale registration is open and will close at midnight on the 12th. Currently we have 54 registered tax sale bidders. We've been, in the past, had over 250 registered bidders, so I'm not sure they're just waiting until the last bit to register or what the problem is. It might have something to do with the fact that we only have $195,000 left to collect. So we're not high on their radar probably. The online tax sale is Monday, June 16th. So that's it for me, but Lene wanted me to state that the ARCA search is done digitizing the grantees books, and now they are digitizing road cases. So they've moved on. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mike.
A couple things that I made note. I'm sorry. I thought you said white.
You're Blake.
Stand correct.
Look at your turn, don't worry.
Got Harley or Virginia.
Yes, you can go.
All right, for the month of May and coming into June, we have a new district court judge that's going to be presiding. We have rotated in Judge John Wright. He's going to be here for another, I think 8 weeks or so. For the month of June, we have some court dates. Our typical district court dates are going to be June 9th, June 16th, June 23rd, and the 30th, which is what we call a non-reported day. So there's not a lot of court that happens that day unless something needs to get scheduled. The judges and magistrates do have conference coming up later this month. I think it's either the second or the last week, second to the last or the last week of the month. So that week when they're having their conference, there's not gonna be a whole lot going on. The District Associate Court Judge is still Judge Jonathan Stensbog. His court dates this month are gonna be June 11th and the 25th. We also have arraignments that are scheduled for June 4th and 18th. Once again, all of these court proceedings are open to the public. If anybody wants to come and see what these hearings are about or what's going on in court, feel free to come in. They're all on the 3rd floor in the main courtroom or the magistrate courtroom. We have some, and the magistrate courtroom court is daily. We have initial appearances every morning, usually starts around 9 a.m. And then Thursdays and Fridays, we have some pre-trials that are scheduled. They're typically being moved to Fridays now. Those are gonna be for your traffic court and simple misdemeanors. And so those are also open to the public. The magistrate courtroom is a little bit smaller, but there are chairs in there if anyone wants to come in as well. School's finally out. Throughout this school year, our office has worked with the schools to deal with compulsory education. We had a number of compulsory education cases that we filed, about 8 cases this year, which I believe is typical for the last few years. I'm not sure if you're all familiar, but there was recent law changes regarding compulsory education and how that's handled with the schools. So the schools are required to send us any family or child that's missing up to 20% of school. We get warnings starting at 10% when they start missing that amount of school. But I believe each one of those cases has been resolved at this point with improved attendance from the families. So I think that it helped, and I hope that next year maybe we won't see those families again. Another item of note from our office is the County Attorney, Darren Stater, will be attending depositions that are occurring in a case number 25ILEA0008. It has to do with the decertification process of a former deputy here, Arturo Perez. Darren Stater is going to be attending depositions for the Sheriff, McNamee, Chief Deputy Bell, former Chief Deputy Chad Doak, and Dispatcher Renee Zalma. These depositions are currently scheduled for June 19th and 20th in Des Moines. Darren is going there to essentially ensure that the rules of civil procedure are going to be followed. The county is not or any of those employees named in those depositions are not parties to that matter. It's a action between the state, so the Attorney General's office is handling that, and former Deputy Arturo Perez. So in that case, it's really similar to any other hearing or matter that, for instance, in a criminal case, if we were to call a witness, that witness attends, they just report facts, what information they know. Those witnesses don't typically have attorneys, they don't need attorneys in those cases. It's like if you were driving down the road and you saw someone swerving around and you called it into the police, that person ends up getting charged with an OWI or similar crime. They might call you as a witness to that. You would attend, you might be deposed, give information about what you saw, what you heard, and then you'd be done. So you wouldn't need an attorney for yourself in those types of situations. I think earlier or last month, end of May, we got a letter from Donna Byers requesting statistics from the Henry County Attorney's Office regarding cases and dispositions and things like that. So we thought it would be good to address some of that here. We did pull information and metrics from, it's an Iowa website, it's called disposedcharges.iowa.gov. The state puts that out. They have information regarding number of cases and convictions and data from, I think we started from 2017, but you can pull information from, I think, much further back. So we pulled some information and metrics from 2017 all the way up to 2023, I think. I thought it went to 2024, but they might not have had 2024 out yet, so they only have to 2023 at this point. In Henry County, so for instance, starting in 2017, we had percentages that were in line with, we looked at other counties, Jefferson County and Lee County, which are counties surrounding us. They have somewhat similar populations and criminal cases that get brought forward in those counties. Our records of cases, total cases that were brought and convictions. So starting in 2017, we had a 74% conviction rate. 2018, it went up to 77. 2019 was 76. 2020 was also 76. 2021 was 75. And 2022 and 23 were both 77%. Jefferson County and Lee County were all very similar. Jefferson 2017 was 70%. Then it went to 73, 71, 79, 79, and 78. And Lee County was 77% starting in 2017, and 79, 79, 77, 75, 76 for 2022 and 2023. So just kind of given those metrics of total cases and number of conviction percentage, Henry County is very much in line with the total number of convictions and the rates for those in surrounding counties around the area. I think that's about it as far as I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert?
The whole entire month of May, I was working on getting the fiscal year 25 budget amendments around. I did just send that off to the publications, and we will have our approval date, which is also published in the paper, would be June 23rd, and that's on a Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Also, my entire staff is out for the rest of this week. They're up in Cedar Rapids for training, because they're all brand new. So, let's just hope we get more training. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Roger?
Yes, sir. Veterans Affairs, we had our commissioners meeting on the 22nd of May, and all were present. On 5/13, I had a regional meeting at the regional office in Des Moines. Throughout our whole discussion and the meeting, I found that claims are taking up to 6 months now due to the workload that they have. California is running short on people, so the VA sent a lot of the claims to Des Moines from California. So their workload has increased considerably concerning the California group, okay? So that's what's taking so long there. Vietnam Veterans Day at the Capitol was on the 14th, and the governor on that particular day and that memorial announced that May will be Veterans Month for Iowa, which was a nice thing that she did. Every third Friday we have our breakfast over at the VA hall, or VFW hall, and it seems to keep growing every month, and it's a good thing, and we have some great presenters that come to that meeting and makes the presentations. National School this year is in Louisville, Kentucky, and that is on June 12th through July 18th. And we've been doing a lot of virtual training with the IDVA, and I had one on the 28th, and it was a good meeting, and it was with the regional office again. As you all know, the 224th Brigade of Engineers Battalion, they all left on May 29th. They was quite of a turnout at the Old Thrashers area. And then if you, like, there's an overpass going across Highway 218, going into East Lake you couldn't believe how many people was on that overpass to see the guys leave. Come to find out, I did some calculations, the state of Iowa has activated or deployed 1,917 troops. That's a bunch of troops for the state of Iowa. And they haven't had anything deployed like that for over 10 years. So, I guess it was Iowa's turn. So, quite a few, and it was good that we had a big send-off there. Iowa State Fair will be August the 11th, and the Veterans Parade will begin at 11. On 6/5, which is today, I gotta be in Burlington at 1 o'clock. I was asked to speak at the groundbreaking at the VA clinic that they're redoing. They're going to expand services to veterans over there. So that's a good thing. It's closer. And they needed to do more like what Atumwa did, because Atumwa moved into a larger building as well. And they offer more services at that particular location. And it's a good thing. So, and on Friday, at Park Place, we have 3 veterans that is in Park Place Nursing Home that will be receiving the Quilts of Valor. And that will be quite of a turnout, I'm quite sure. And there will be speaking engagements there as well. I also attended at the County Sheriff's Office opioid abuse. And I asked Rich if the person that put that on, or the sheriff that put that on, if he would make us talk at our breakfast. I think it's a good thing, and it's, you know, us older folks, we have a medicine chest. We keep all of our medicines in the medicine chest. Well, our kids know exactly where that medicine chest is, and they kind of know what's in it, okay? So, in order to avoid things like that, there's certain securities that you need to take in your household, and I think that's something that needs to be presented to the veterans in the state of Iowa, because you all know that the VA is probably the biggest drug dealer in the world, and they certainly do give out a lot of pills and stuff, and it's, yes, the veterans need it and they deserve that, but the younger kids take it for other reasons. With that in mind, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Chad, it's now your turn.
Me? Roger, did you say 1,917
Yes.
troops all deployed same locations or
No,
different?
they will be going to 3 different locations, Kuwait, Iraq, and
Syria.
Syria. You can't seem to get anything satisfied over there as in Ukraine as well, so it just seems like we're moving troops that way so that we're easily deployed if things change greatly.
Here, just a few days ago, I understand that Dave Calhoun had passed away. He's got our ice and snow removal contract and everything for the county property. I'll get with the family to see if that business name will continue and if they'll be able to continue with the service provided, or if we need to do something different with that. But I'll check with that and get back on that one. Then also a former telephone company employee asked me, with all the trenching and ITC and, or not ITC, but the Kelowna work being done with fiber optics and everything, he said, rather than have a bunch of litter and leftover pedestal boxes left in the ditches, because he said they typically won't take them out. He says, does the county need to take any action to make sure that those are removed once that service is gone? And I said, I would think that would be part of that contract to remove it. And he said, you watch, he said there'll be a bunch of or a bunch of the pedestals just flapping in the wind, not removed, so, you know, I don't know if we do got the county right of ways or who would kind of oversee that, but we don't need a bunch of litter in the ditches, do we? So,
I mean, I can comment if you want me to.
yeah, if you would.
So, a lot of times the existing stuff is a copper line, and so there is usually a transition period where people will have the opportunity to sign up for fiber or not. So some of those, even though they may only have one person that's using that copper line for miles, that whole system is there. So we do try to work with them to get rid of some of them. It is a kind of a painful process, but we do try to. A lot of times it's when we have a project, when they start locating stuff, like, oh, we're not using that one. Like, well, let's get it out of here, and we try to work it that way. So, but yeah, it is something we can add on to it. It's not something. It is a process, is really what it comes down to, because you have opportunities to sign up or hook up to the new fiber if not required.
Just south of the airport, the Kelowna company was trenching fiber optic down there, and I had to wait in traffic, and there was a guy there that looked like he had a little bit of knowledge of what was going on. And I asked him, I said, are you guys removing the pedestals as well? And he said, no. He said, we don't care about the pedestals at all. He said, we're just trenching line. So.
Yeah, and so just in that example, there's 3 different companies on that road. There's KCTC, Lisco, and Windstream. So not all the pedestals line up to who owns what. Right. So there's a lot of different ones. KCTC is brand new out there, so they have nothing else out there currently.
Yeah. So I figured there was something to that. You know, everybody, there might be service nobody's signing up for it or whatever, but that was just something that I thought we might talk about, because there's a lot of them flapping in the wind right now, empty. So.
Yeah.
I had working, so thank you all for this month's department meeting. Jake, you are next up on our agenda.
Okay. I don't want you to need to sit down. I'll just stand here for a second. I have just the 2 permits. I read everything else to you guys. This was just to give you the routes that were out there. This is what they had given us. They might have changed it, but if you're wondering what tractor routes are going to be, I recommend everybody else to go to KXEL 1540 on their webpage or have this report.
Okay. You want a copy for?
This is what I read earlier to you guys.
Excuse me. Yeah.
2 permits are utility permits or overhead. They're for power. So one's with Access Energy and one is with Alliant Energy. And then that's pretty much it, unless you guys have questions for me.
Thank you. Rich, you're up, please.
Which topic may I ask, Mark?
Let's go with the mental health, mental reimbursement first, please.
Thank you. So, historically, when we have mental health commitments for adults in Henry County, we transport those people to the hospital of choice that the Henry County Health Center or Great River Mount Pleasant arranges. We take those people to their place of commitment. They're there for a few days. They come back for a hearing. Historically, we've sent an invoice to Sarah's office after those transports to reimburse for the transportation costs. With Sarah's position dissolving and that going to the state of Iowa, I'm just here to ask where the board would like us to invoice in the future. Talking with Sarah yesterday, she said that she didn't believe that has been determined yet. They said it was up to the county supervisors and the Iowa section region. Maybe you can help me out with that, Mark. I don't.
It has not been determined, they've addressed, everybody has addressed it to the state.
Okay.
The state hasn't done a daggone thing about it.
Okay.
It's with the new ASOs, who's taking over. They're supposed to take care of that, but they have not said a word about it yet to us.
Okay.
So, so there's Sarah, so, I'm just saying that the ASOs have done nothing so far. What the state says about Committal. And so, we're sort of in limbo, to tell you the truth, until then.
So do you have a recommendation after July 1st what I should do with those invoices?
Well,
Should I send them up to Robin and just have her determine where that comes and goes?
I would give it to her and,
Sorry.
And I think that, I know that we need to keep putting some pressure on the state, and I think that we will.
I would agree.
And, so, I contact our legislator, I know that for sure, and push a little harder on that one, because
Okay.
there's, it's like I've said at other times in some of these meetings, we won't know what's gonna happen until probably a year from now, in a lot of things, but it's gonna be as needed, I think, that they'll take care of things.
I know.
But I understand your plight.
Yeah, absolutely. I asked this morning with my office staff, just say, how many we average in a month? What's the average cost? And they said 2 to 4 a month, and it's for both trips. The one to take them to the hospital and the one to bring them back for the hearing is a couple $100-ish per. So it isn't like it's a humongous deal. It's just a situation where we don't know what to do with that invoice now.
Sorry, I thought Jay could talk longer.
I did my part.
You're normally correct.
Just kidding.
So, what I can tell you is that clearly there's no question what happens up until June 30th. There's an email address, and then Tammy Gilligan's contact information has been giving out. The region is extended into the new fiscal year to get all of those things paid, so that will function as usual. I know that it is an obligation of the Behavioral Health ASO to fund the costs for things related to commitment. I think what is happening right now, based on my observation, is that the Behavioral Health ASO has been really focused on getting provider contracts done, because that's pretty critical, because we want to move into July 1st with no gap in service. And I know there's a town hall meeting today with providers to let them know about contracts being released and how that process is going to go. So unfortunately, I think the bulk of their work is with provider contracts, and that's kind of where they've been focusing. But I know once all the contracts are done, then they can start working on these other things that are somewhat significant in the process, but just not where they can focus their time right now.
Right.
I am absolutely confident that you'll be able to bill. I'm just not sure. There's 2 ways of billing. One way is per person will be billed up to through like the Medicaid portal. And then the other way is billed directly to the Behavioral Health ASO, which is Iowa Primary Care Association. And they're focused more on like aggregate services, so services that aren't person by person. So hopefully the first part of July, or at least within the first 60 days of Iowa Primary Care taking over, they'll start talking with you guys. I know that's one of my responsibilities, is to kind of be a provider liaison, so hopefully, you know, that's one of my roles, is to get the information and then to start sharing it with everybody else that has questions on, we're supposed to be billing a service, so can we get that started?
So June 14th, we can contact you, huh?
Well, probably. You'll contact me anyway, so.
Well, I presume the code isn't gonna change, that the sheriff can still be designated as the person who transports. Although Bob recommended the state patrol, that's not a terrible idea. But however, we'll still do what the court orders say, and then after July 1, if we have a transport, we'll just send that invoice up to Robin.
I think that's
In the
reasonable,
interim?
then, to figure out where the routing from there is.
Okay,
We'll push that way.
appreciate the conversation, thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Then you have another item there, Rich?
Yes. So 2 weeks ago, I was here asking for outside counsel. I clearly hear what the county attorney's office is saying. I think this is a unique situation. Yes, I'm being called as a witness, so is Deputy Bell and former Chief Deputy Chad Doak. However, this is an Iowa Law Enforcement Academy hearing. It's unique. It's the first one I've heard of in my career, and I'm just here seeking an answer.
So this is, my question was to you, is this is the one you're asking about this, where you're gonna be giving a deposition type?
And then a hearing in July, yeah.
Since, I'll give my opinion, since you are having legal counsel there, and what Blake had said earlier, I think that'll suffice for my point. Chad?
It sounds like the county attorney's office is gonna address that. Is there lines of questions that are problematic or troublesome or anything like that?
Not that I believe. I started his deposition in April. The deposition went 2.5 hours, and at the 2.5 hour point, like I told you guys 2 weeks ago, I didn't realize I didn't have counsel there at all. And that's why I'm asking for counsel.
So they'll be there to guide and direct, my understanding, for the ILEA issues.
Darren will be.
Yeah.
If you recall, when I was here 2 weeks ago asking, when I had a conference with Mr. Stater, he said he would be there, but he said he would just make sure they're following the rules of civil procedure. He would not ask for that motion to quash. He would not be my legal counsel, and I feel like I need that there. It's an Iowa Law Enforcement Academy situation, and I'm there in my capacity as the sheriff of county.
I think this is something that needs to be, Steve needs to be involved in this as the third member of the council here as well.
So, if that's what you feel, Chad, we'll direct, we'll put it on our agenda again next week.
Okay.
And so, you have a consensus of what the total board wants.
Understood. I'll be here next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is subcommittee. Do you have any subcommittees?
No.
I have no subcommittees. Next is public comment. Any public comment?
I'll do it. Roger mentioned the send-off for the 224th, and if you didn't go or don't know, it's awesome. A lot of community involvement and a lot of comments that Southeast Iowa should be proud of that. And I did talk to some people in the area of other places where they sent soldiers off, and they didn't have anything like that. And I think we need to thank Bob Beachek for his involvement in that. Now, the other thing is, those people on the buses, the soldiers, they're volunteers. They're going for a year. They're leaving their family, their home, wife and kids to take care of the home front while they're gone. They're not going to have the best living conditions. They're sacrificing, okay? And the reason I mention that is, you know, the volunteers do a lot. They did it for their country, their community, and hopefully they all come back safe. And we'll be looking forward to that. So, you know, a couple of weeks ago I mentioned you guys volunteered to help out the conservation department, and I don't know how that worked out, but anyhow, there's another need, a financial need. And certainly you can help there, I think. So there's nothing like being a volunteer, and it makes you feel good. And like I said, it'll look good on your resume if you go help out a little bit.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll speak. I wasn't going to, but I'm sorry. There's been a lot said that's not accurate. So the charges are definitely misconstrued numbers, because you got to understand that there's conviction rates that are charges as officers charge in the field, and then the conviction rates that are charged and pled down, right? So Iowa Courts Online is public to everybody. I have spent a lot of time, a lot of hours on my own looking up this information, and I will just give you basic information from 2023 data from Mount Pleasant Police Department and Henry County Sheriff's Office. There was 1,062 charges just between Henry County Sheriff's Office and Mount Pleasant Police Department in 2023. 64% of those charges were dismissed, deferred down, or not in Iowa courts at all, or the county attorney's office just chose not to follow through with any of those charges. So 70-some% that Assistant County Vieira said, I don't know where those numbers are coming from, but they're definitely misconstrued. And like I said, anybody can look on Iowa Courts Online and see when somebody goes to jail and then follow the court through Iowa Courts Online and see what happens. I know it doesn't, unless it affects you personally, nobody pays attention, because we all get busy in our personal lives, I understand. But we all know that my husband is going through it, so we have paid attention, and it's unfortunate that the county attorney's office is misconstruing the information and making it seem that they are actually taking cases and following through with convictions that they're not. As for the conflict of interest, well, I think that the mere fact that Assistant County Attorney Blake Vieira is speaking on it is a conflict, because him and former Deputy Arturo Perez adopting a highway on 34 and having a sign with their names on it shows a pure conflict of interest. So much so that they had the sign removed since then. Sheriff McNamee does need outside counsel. Yes, it is not him on the stand or being tried, but there is a conflict of interest between the sheriff's office and the county attorney's office. Just Assistant County Attorney Steve Gablehausen making faces over there and the smirks and the lack of professionalism as they're texting and doing everything over there during this meeting, that's lack of professionalism, and that shows the tension. So
Thank you. 3 minutes up. Thank you. Ron?
I try to listen real closely at these meetings, and thank God we have somebody recording the meetings. I did catch what Blake was talking about when he said 75 to 77% of the cases were conviction rate. But it all falls back to how many were dismissed or pled out. And here a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, the library board was asking for funds from the state or from the county. And I made the comment back then, some of the charges that were pled out or dropped and never prosecuted, that money could have went towards our libraries in Henry County. And yes, I'm very proud of the turnout of Henry County. The other day, sending our troops off, I think Mr. White rode with us. And when we got to the Missouri state line, Henry County Honor Guard was standing at attention as the troops crossed the bridge. I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes?
As an attorney that does criminal work, I just feel like I need to speak up on this topic. Without picking sides in anything in this argument, I just want to make it understood that one individual from a single incident could wind up with 6 different charges. They may have a felony, they may have a couple aggravated misdemeanors, a serious misdemeanor, then they'll have some traffic tickets. In working out an arrangement to convict this person for something, for what they had done, often things will be bargained. Well, perhaps they'll plead to the 2 biggest, like the 2nd and 3rd highest charge, get the biggest one dismissed, and then they dismiss all the little tickets. because they don't matter in the big scheme of things. And that way we can close cases without costing the county money putting on a trial. That's routinely done everywhere, in every court, everywhere. I worked for an attorney in Texas, I have worked here in several offices. That's the way criminal law is done. So if the numbers could be skewed, if you're looking at individuals, how many individuals were convicted of a crime as a result of an incident versus how many charges were actually convictions. And that it can skew the numbers one way or the other. But in all fairness, it's more accurate to look at how many individuals were convicted rather than each individual charge.
Thank you. Anybody else? Katie?
I'm just gonna say something light. I wanted to thank Sarah for her service here. She's been here in Henry County for a very long time, and we're glad that we'll get to continue that relationship with her in the future. So that's all I got. Congratulations on your new position.
Thank you. Katie, I didn't ask you, are you gonna be attending that meeting via Zoom today?
The 2 o'clock town hall? Yes, I plan on it.
Good. I'm glad of that. Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm just gonna make a reminder of the Rotary barbecue tonight. So if you haven't bought tickets, I have some for sale.
That's on sale, Steve.
Have you been slacking on your sales?
I have been, yes.
I sold tickets
Did you?
and turned them in.
I hope you accept the ones that I put through the washing machine.
Oh, did you really? Oh, no, they'll let you.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll make that one. I'll second it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. You're now adjourned. Thank you all.